Welcome to Not Your Status Quo. Today we are reviewing Iron Fist Season 2 on Netflix. And as always, if you like what you see, please subscribe to our channel, like the video, and ring the bell to be notified of future videos.
Here's how I felt about it. Overall, I got some notes here. I'm going to go over them. The season was better than Season 1, but really not by much. I mean, the action, the opening scene in the series on Episode 1, badass. I love the fighting. I love the use of his
You're
fist.
talking about the armored car scene.
Yeah, at the very beginning. Where he comes up and he's got the mask on and he's just like he kicks some ass. That was good. I enjoyed I enjoyed all the action. This season, I really liked. I liked Ward as a character. He seemed like a genuine person, like the one person who's not like super powered, and he's acting like he would in a normal life, and he's going to AA or NA, no, I'm just kidding. The thing that bothered me about his character though, it was at the end when he this is a spoiler-filled review, so we'll go ahead and say it. He gets that girl pregnant, and he goes in and he wants to be part of its life, and she says, "I need to be alone." Next thing you know, he's out of the country, and he just totally forgot about the kid.
Well, I don't know if he forgot about it. He was giving her space.
Well, that's a lot of space. He went to Japan, for crying out loud.
Danny didn't give him much of a choice either.
No, he didn't.
He said, "You're coming with."
Yeah, to discover yourself. And that last scene, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't even know if I'm interested in it. I know it comes from the previous, I don't know if it's the previous Iron Fist that had the guns.
It was.
And, they're obviously not going to bring him into the series, I don't think. But they're going to have Danny have his powers. I don't know how Danny channeled the Iron Fist again. I mean, that's something to look forward to in Season 3. Let's see, what else? Alice Eve as Typhoid Mary. Loved her. All the way up until that last episode, there was one thing in there. She just seemed like, instead of being a badass all the way up to that point, she was just, at the last minute, she was just like, easily stopped. And I can't name the scene, but it was...
When they got the water flowing and she turned back into Mary?
Yeah, I guess that was it. And it was just like, okay, but then we found out that there's another personality. I wonder if she's going to end up on the Daredevil show.
Well, and hopefully, because she was either Typhoid Mary or Bloody Mary. She had a couple different things in the comics. So, yeah, I do hope she shows up in Daredevil also.
Yeah, and she did a great job acting, too. I didn't like Colleen ending up with the Iron Fist at the end. I don't think that didn't happen in the comics.
It's never happened in the comics, but if you stay around for Easter eggs and other items of note, we'll say why it might be comic okay, I guess.
And the reference to what was? I know it. It was that the pirate story, the pirate princess or queen. It's the pirate queen, and that was in the comics, so that made that interesting. I just don't know about the whole descendant thing. That's just my personal thing. This is my review. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay, and then Misty Knight. In the series, I think her part in this series was a lot more lighthearted than it was in the Luke Cage series, but at the same time, I don't know if I like her character. I don't know if she's like, if it's the actress overacting, but she's just got this sense of like, I'm a badass, and every time she does that, every time she puts on that act, somebody just like stifles her, and then she just kind of okay and walks away. So that kind of bothers me about it, and I think that's probably the writing, and it's probably an overall problem with the Netflix shows. That when they have someone that's acting in that way, they have to back it up somehow. I know she's got the arm, and she punches her way out of that room, but it needs a little something more.
So, what would you give it out of 10? What is your rating for Iron Fist Season 2?
I give it a 6 out of 10.
When you are home.
Now my review, and I got some notes here also. I certainly think Season 2 was better than Season 1, but that isn't really saying much because Season 1 was about as bad as Inhumans. Well, maybe not that bad, but it was still close to unwatchable. I really felt with Season 1, I wasn't sitting down and, hey, I'm going to watch Iron Fist. I was like, oh, man, might as well finish it. Yeah. I felt like I had to finish it, and that just wasn't a good thing. But I think the biggest jump in quality from season one to season two, is the fight scenes.
Yeah, definitely.
I think much better choreographed. Everything looked better. Danny looked like he actually knew kung fu this time, and I think the highlight of all the fight scenes was the final episode where Danny's fighting Mary and Colleen is fighting Davos. I thought that was great how they did it. Now I kind of agree, hitting the water spout open and stopping Mary I don't think was all the best, but I mean, I'm not going to complain too much about that. And I got to agree with you so much. I feel like just the writing of all of the dialogue was just not good. Everyone's lines came out flat. And I don't know if that was a combination between the direction and the writing, but every line was just delivered in such a way, it was just boring to me. I was like, oh man, let's get to a fight scene. Because them talking is not good. I didn't, it just seemed so flat, so incredibly
enthusiastic.
Yeah, it didn't seem real to me. It didn't seem like real people talking. It seemed like just people reading lines. It seemed more like they were reading at a table read than actually doing the scenes.
How did you feel about his overall, attitude? Not his attitude, but he wasn't really showing his strength. He was kind of meek, I thought. What did you think about that?
I think that's one of my biggest problems. I love Iron Fist. He's one of my favorite heroes, and he is the champion of Kung Lung.
Mm-hmm.
And yet he seems like one of the biggest wimps out there, or he acts like it. He defeated Shao Lao the Undying.
And you would think that this would instill him with some
confidence.
Some badassness, and it's just like so reserved.
Yeah, it's definitely lacking.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 Iron Fists out of 10. I think they could definitely do better. I hope we see a season 3 because I did like Colleen kind of getting the power and Danny also getting it, because it has been established in the comics that multiple people can possess the Iron Fist at the same time. So it'll be interesting if they do get a season 3 where they go. So I guess it's up to Netflix. I hope they renew it.
I fought my brother. There is no changing what happened.
We got a few more things to say. What do you think?
Some Easter eggs and little other items of note that Dave and I looked up. The ending kind of alters the show's status quo in a huge way. See what I did there? Colleen is the new Iron Fist, but so is Danny. So season 3 will hopefully be much more interesting than 1 and 2.
And another thing about that right there, I don't know why they had to break up. That seemed like a major thing. If she was going to train him, they have to break up. I don't understand, but whatever. That's their writing. Davos stealing the Iron Fist from Danny, and that's nothing new. And I like to reference Smallville a lot. He lost his powers.
I haven't noticed.
No, really? That show's terrible. On that show, I don't know. I could probably think of it at least 5 times that he lost his powers and somebody else took them temporarily. It's old hat. It's been done before. All the shows were like named after like Iron Fist comics.
Yep. Night of the Dragon, things like that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And then when you think Misty Knight's joke about Nightwing, having a ring to a tongue-in-cheek nod to DC Comics Nightwing, former Robin Dick Grayson, but it was actually in the comics, the Daughters of the Dragon formed a company called Nightwing Restoration Business. So I didn't know if they were also kind of winking at DC Comics a little bit, but it's in the comics too. There was a Nightwing.
And that's kind of cool if they were, because I think it's a healthy a competition between the two, DC and Marvel. The Silver Lotus restaurant is a big part of the Iron Fist season 2. The location where Danny and Colleen have their date night, and it was actually introduced in the pages of Uncanny X-Men. In that Storm and Jean Grey actually made up here with Colleen for a girls' night out. So it's.
And then the Crane sisters that we see, the tattoo artists, they're very skilled fighters in the show, but the trio is based on the Crane daughters, the children of the Crane mother, who rules over the lost city of Kang'an-zi. In the comics, her hatred of Iron Fist leads to her loaning them to Davos to help him achieve his mission.
Okay, go ahead.
And while it could be a coincidence, Colleen's boss at the Community Association, Sam Chung, is a character comic book fans know best as Blind Spot. He was the protege of Daredevil, but I have a hard time. He seems a little too old to become Daredevil's protege on the show.
I did like Typhoid Mary or Mary Walker referencing Sokovia. She did it twice, and so this, that obviously she was there either during the time of Age of Ultron or like just before, because the place was a mess, and I thought it was because of the actions of the Avengers at the time, but it turns out like that she had done all that, and that's the third personality that's coming out. I hope we get to see somewhere along the line in the Netflix universe.
And I think the thing too, she never suits up in Iron Fist. No one suits up in Iron Fist. We don't see any costumes, and I know that's kind of a fanboy thing, but it kind of bothered me. I really wanted to see it. We saw hints of who Typhoid Mary could be, but we never really saw her come out. I really hope that, we see Typhoid Mary or Bloody Mary in Daredevil, Heroes for Hire, Daughters of the Dragon, whatever shows may be coming on, because I think that's an interesting character, and I think they can still flesh her out quite a bit.
And those could be really interesting if they decide to go that way. I know they did wear the masks when they were in Kunlun, and and they had that fight. So there was a post-credit scene.
Well, one thing too, and Misty confirmed that Iron Fist does take place after the events of Luke Cage season 2, when she's talking to Colleen and says, we may need this power to take down Harlem's new crime boss. So hey, maybe we're going to see Colleen in Luke Cage season 3 if we see it, or maybe Heroes for Hire. But I think we really need Iron Fist season 3 before they can do a Heroes for Hire, since Danny kind of has a different power than Colleen. But hey, whatever.
And in my opinion, if the more mixing they do with these shows is going to be better for them, because I don't think that any of the single characters have proven it, well, except for Daredevil and the Punisher, that they can carry an entire season on their own. If they do a little mixing, they could do most of the season. This is just my opinion, and that's what we're here for, right?
That's true. And we had talked about the Pirate Queen of Ping Hai Bay. It was introduced in Ed Brubaker and Matt Fraction's Immortal Iron Fist, and she was recruited by Liu Kang the Thunderer. She was the first woman to hold the Iron Fist, and that power obviously now resides with her ancestor, Kali.
Mm-hmm.
There is a minor post-credit scene in this, which is kind of a lead-in to Daredevil Season 3. We see Matt sitting talking to...
All bloody.
Yep, in confession, all bloody with the old mask on, which, is kind of looks like it's going to take on Frank Miller's run, Born Again. And he's basically saying he used to think, things could be solved in a court of law, but darkness, defeats darkness. So it looks like he's going to go full Daredevil in Season 3. And comes out October 19th, and I cannot wait.
I can't either.
I once believed that justice could be found in a court of law and in the light of day. But I was fooling myself. Darkness only responds to darkness. And the truth is, I'd rather die as the devil than live as Matt Murdock.